Put the needle on the record.
Brunson stops on a dime, launches. Oh yeah! Jalen Brunson buries it.
They give it to B. All right, here it is. Bernard looking for 50, and he's got it. Back-to-back 50-point games for Bernard King.
Now has Starks for Ewing. Ewing with the spin. Ewing, yes! 1 seconds remaining. The Knicks lead by 1.
All right, New York Knicks fans, this is Tim's with New York Knicks Unleashed, and I keep thinking about an 80s song from Don Johnson. I'm looking for a heartbeat. Yes, that is horrible singing, but the New York Knicks, since winning the NBA Cup, have gone 5-5. Their defense has been looking putrid. Their offense, which was on steroids early in the season, now seems to be stuck in second gear. In those 10 games, the Knicks have a 45% field goal percentage, 24th in the NBA, and 119.9 defensive rating, which is 26th. They've played those 10 games in 17 days without some of their most notable players, but Josh Hart in this 5-game absence is really standing out. Hart went down with the left ankle sprain. The Knicks are now 2-3 without him, allowing 122 points per 100 possession, 4th in the league. They have allowed at least 125 in 4 of those games. Losers of 3 straight. We've looked horrid on back-to-back nights at the Garden versus both the Hawks and the Sixers. I was there for both games. It was putrid to see Joel Embiid just doing what he does and then giving the number one sign at the end of the game. It just made you want to fucking vomit. But at the end of the day, you sit there, you look at this, and you say, "There's something missing from this team. There is something. There's a heartbeat missing from this team. There is just something that is not there." And once in a while, there is a player that has such an impact on a team, and it may not even be a star player. It could be a starter. Hell, it could even be a bench player. But it is a guy that maybe allows you to have all these complementary skills that maybe he doesn't do everything fantastic, but he does everything well. And that's Josh Hart. Josh Hart, the Knicks just aren't pushing the pace anymore. They're really not. They're showing not enough physicality. Even with OG Anunoby on the outside, they're just not showing enough physicality on defense. You got 2 guys that barely have ever seen the light of the day coming off the bench, and Kevin and Mohammed, and you're just kind of like, you know what? They need to go back on the bench. Josh Hart is that two-way player. Josh Hart is that facilitator. Josh Hart, if he's not playing well offensively, he's doing something defensively. If he's not on his type, that game he usually has defensively, he's grabbing rebounds, or he's putting out assists, or he's just doing the little things. He's back on the court, Josh Hart, as of Friday, kind of doing some light workout stuff. He's going to be reevaluated in another week. So we are going to be at least a week away. We got to take on the top seed Detroit Pistons. And it's just one of, listen, Detroit has been played well in the last 2 seasons. The Josh Tatumless Celtics, they had the early season struggles, but now they're making their little bit of a swing. And like I said it before, the Knicks, to me, with this lineup, when healthy and all together, is the second best lineup in the starting lineup. I should rephrase that, in the league, not accounting, of course, I would say OKC. But with the Knicks continuous losing, and like I said, with this offense just being bogged down, you kind of have this feeling that Mike Brown, when Mike Brown, I understood early in the season when Mike Brown was not starting Hart, because he still didn't have his feel in the finger coming off surgery. He wasn't playing well. He wasn't shooting well. But once you put him back in the lineup, you could see a difference in this team. You could see something special. And I love you, Mike, but starting Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns, and I should rephrase it, starting Mitchell Robinson at center and moving Karl Anthony Towns to power forward, that's not a way to cure your struggles. You need a spark plug. You need a facilitator. You need the guy that's going to do the dirty work. I always laugh with Ariel Hakaporti because of the fact that he can't score. He does have some nice touch on his free throws, but he's not, he's kind of an offensive liability. But when he comes in, he gives you heart and hustle. And he's going to be, like I said, as an old-time Knicks fan, he reminds me of an old number one, that Ken the Animal Bannister. He's just going to come in, bang around a little bit, do what he needs to do, get out in 6-7 minutes, then leave. But sometimes he starts an impact in the game that maybe not felt in reference to the stat sheet, but sometimes you need a guy that just does the little things. And that was Josh Hart. That's always been Josh Hart. Josh Hart is always that guy that if you just look at him and you understand that he is the heart of the Knicks at times. Jalen Brunson is the star of the Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns is supposed to be, 1B to the Knicks in reference to being a star. But if you take a look at this, Karl Anthony Towns has not been consistent enough this year, has not been dominating enough this year with his size. And you always need guys. You need guys like Josh Hart that can do a little bit of everything, that can show you the way and kind of give you that grittiness, give you that toughness. It's like losing Dante DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo is a more offensive-minded Josh Hart. Now, I know a lot of Knicks fans want to go out and get him from Minnesota, but that's not going to happen. There's cap reasons why this is not going to happen. But he was that offensive facilitator that he's that little, DiVincenzo was always that little yippy dog. The little yippy dog that's always on your heels that thinks that they are bigger than they are, and you just kind of want to shoo him away. But he got into the heads of other opponents, and he could deliver offensively. And like I said, Josh Hart is a guy that we had for 37.6 minutes a night. This is a guy that came in even with the finger injury, is playing the same amount of minutes that he's played the last few years that he's been here with the Knicks. He worked his way through it. And while Hart may not be the best defender on this team, he is a guy that can guard up credibly to 4 different positions and be reliable in it. He has an understanding. He has an approach. He has he has at time a momentum turning hustle because his motor is never off. His motor is always running. And that's what being at the Garden right now. Like I said, I've been like 7 or 8 games at the Garden this year so far. But that you could see the difference when Hart is in the lineup, and you can see them struggle not only offensive and defensively when Hart is not in the lineup. So the Knicks, maybe you have to go a little bit longer with your starters. Maybe you have to find a way to find an extra scoring punch. But the gravity of this situation is the Knicks may drop further until Hart comes back. And like I said, then it was great to get Miles McBride back. It was fantastic to get Miles back, but Miles does not do everything that Hart does. Miles, in some ways, is that DiVincenzo type player. He's that guy that can facilitate. He for your old timers, he's that old microwave. He's that Vinnie Johnson from the Detroit Piston days. He can come in and instantly heat up off the bench. That is McBride. But you need a guy that's a defender, a facilitator, a scorer when needed. How many times do you see Josh Hart putting up the big 3 on those catch and shoots? He does a little catch and shoot 3, and it changes the game. And then he gets back on the defensive end and does something special. We're missing, like Don Johnson said, we're missing the heartbeat. I was going to put in the Don Johnson song Heartbeat, but then I'll get flagged to copyright again. But there's nothing new with that. But this is what we need. We just need to hope. We just need to pray that we can get this stretch. Can we stay 500 at least through the stretch that Josh Hart is gone? I hope so. Big test tonight against the Detroit Pistons. So we're gonna have to see what the Knicks do. And again, this is Tim. This is New York Knicks Unleashed. Like, subscribe, ring that bell, set all notifications, and I'm out of here.